For 2026, Harley Davidson has brought back the pinnacle of the touring line. Now, of course, that is to say without considering the CVO, which is, you know, arguably a show bike and a touring bike. Well, they're beautiful enough to be show bikes, but they are the best touring bikes Harley has ever made. The Street Glide Limited and the Road Glide Limited. I am in Los Angeles right now, and these bikes have not been released yet, but as you're watching this video, well, today is the release day. It's January 14th, and Harley Davidson has just released to the public that they brought back what you've been asking for, and that is the Limited, a true touring motorcycle for 2026. And with me, one of my favorite people in the entire world, Her Two Wheels. You guys know her on YouTube, but I just call her Jess, or sometimes I call her Her Two Beers.
not right now.
But not today, because we are riding some beautiful, epic motorcycles. I love this teal. That is a gorgeous color, right, man?
Oh yeah, it's also a 2026 bike.
Matt's my homeboy from the Motor Company. He is the best guy I've ever worked with. Since 2014, I've been working with Harley. This guy has been killing it, making it easy to do really rad stuff like we're doing today, riding some beautiful country on some brand new bikes that nobody's even seen yet. We got to kind of try to keep them secret, but we'll see how good we do. All right, guys, let's get this bike started up and take it for a ride and see if it is indeed the pinnacle of touring motorcycles. Here we go. Woo. So the first thing I'm going to tell you guys, this thing does have the VVT, which is going to give us a broader, wider torque band across the whole rev range, which is important when you're carrying lots of gear or extra people and gear, which you're going to be able to do because this bike's a lot lighter. Ooh, if you can feel the difference just leaning it into those corners. This is nice. This bike is likely to live, at least I vision it living, most of its life on the interstate, or certainly a lot of it. And up here, I gotta tell you, it feels super stable, but also nimble, right? Like, this Limited is 23 pounds lighter than the previous Limited Harley had released. And not only is it lighter, but it's also moved the weight down lower. And it really makes a difference when cornering out here on the big road. You can really feel just how much more agile it is at speed. You know, right now I'm doing 81 miles an hour, and this thing's pretty planted. And it comes with a lot of other features we'll get into, but one simple one I'm using right now are these highway pegs. Now that's something that, you know, pretty much every touring, at least long distance touring bike is likely to buy and purchase to add, and it's just nice that they come with it. It's not expensive, but it's one less thing you have to buy. You know, just makes it a more complete touring model. We know you're gonna take those highways to beautiful scenic roads. So we're gonna rip through the mountains here in California, put this thing into some curves. Let's see how she handles. So far, I have to say that weight transfer is making every bit of a difference here in the twisties as it did on the interstate. This is truly an enjoyable bike to ride. It's crazy that it can be this nimble on some back roads and as comfortable as it is banging down the interstate. We're leaning into some curves, baby. I can't believe how incredibly smooth this bike is. You know, all the motorcycles I ride are so heavily modified. And this thing from the factory is just smooth. And that VVT, I mean, just really does put the power band exactly where it needs to be. And that's not something that the Street Glide or the Road Glide had in the past. That was strictly a CVO option. And now the Limited is coming with that same thing. And I don't think they could have picked a better bike to include it on, because you want to have the power. Man, this thing feels so nimble. It's crazy to me how nimble it feels. I mean, if you got to test a new motorcycle, this is a pretty epic place to be testing it. Henshaw Scenic View. And it is definitely scenic. After nearly 100 miles across California. We've now tested this thing on the Interstate, which I have to say, I really did enjoy this bike. That is where this bike absolutely shines. This is a mile munching machine, but we also got to take it into the mountains and lean into some twisties there, and that is where that weight I was telling you about, I really saw a big difference. This thing leaned into the corners so comfortably, it really felt like a much smaller bike. I have not spent a ton of time on a Batwing fairing in quite some time, and I have to say I'm actually enjoying this ride. Often people talk about how the front end of the Batwing feels a little bit heavier, which is why they love the Road Glide like Jess is riding back here so much more. But I have to say, on this bike, I really didn't notice a lot of weight up there, whether I was cornering those mountains or pushing alongside semis on the Interstate.
I don't know if it's like actually true or not. I have a Road Glide, but it feels light. I mean, it's certainly lighter than the old Street Glides.
It really
like the
is.
steering handle. It feels so light. It's so easy to throw into corners.
Yeah, it really does feel great. Now, you know we're not coming to beautiful places like this without getting some great photos. So Harley Davidson has brought in one of the best motorcycle photographers, and I have got a chance to ride with him and to pass my boy Chicken Rick.
Oh, what's going on, man? Yeah, there's nobody else available, so they dragged me out here.
Yeah, that's exactly how it happened. Last time you and I rode, we were banging
Sportsters, off rocks and everything. We were off-road Sportster, and that was a little rougher than this, but equally as fun for sure.
Man, it's gonna be a beautiful ride. We're gonna enjoy some miles out here, and I'm taking y'all along with me. You can tell by the shadow on the side of those mountains, the sun is setting on us as we're rolling towards our hotel here, and the temperature has cut down pretty chilly. And this is a great opportunity to try one of the features this bike has, which is the heated seat. It has a rider and a passenger heated seat this year. And I gotta tell you, it's got me pretty toasty. It's amazing to me how a heated seat actually can warm your entire body as your blood's circulating. I don't know what it is. Do we got more blood vessels in our butts? But a heated seat can actually, really, it seems to me, increase your entire body temperature. And it's just a nice feature to have. I don't think I've ever had a motorcycle with a heated seat before. And it is super nice. Look at that view. Oh man, the sunset's coming out perfect. Big boulders and rocks everywhere. Yeah, this is a gorgeous road. Look at that. I'm sure this is beautiful in a car, but there's not much better than riding this route on a motorcycle. Absolutely epic ride down, and I'm talking about a beautiful sunset. Another thing you'll notice right now, it's dark out, you can see it a little bit better, but they've got these new integrated lights up front here. And I really like those. They give it a more modern look. Really go with the lighting of the whole front end of that bike. Both the Road Glide and the Street Glide are gonna come with that lighting. Good morning, welcome to day 2 riding the new 2026 Limited across California. To get a full experience, we are back up on the beautiful road. What road number is this? Do we know what road number it is?
I've always called it S22, but it's also Montezuma Valley Road.
Montezuma Valley Road, I remember that. But S22 is the technical road, and we've just been going up and down and getting some banger shots just like these. Part of taking road trips is getting to see the sights. Doing it on an awesome new motorcycle is fantastic, but seeing the sights is really what it's all about in my heart. And this is the Salton Sea. If y'all don't know about this, it's got a crazy history from like the 30s to like the 50s. This was like a super hot spot for Hollywood elites. You'd be water skiing out there, boats, people barbecuing set up on the beach. And the irrigation chemicals from all the farmers in the area ended up in the sea. And now it's so thick with salt that a fish can't even live in it. And it has turned into an absolute wasteland, but it still makes for an epic photo. So I thought I'd stop here and get a couple pictures of the new 2026 Limited. And these are the farmlands they're talking about. It's surrounded by it. I don't know, they've got several different types of vegetation, but I would say the largest thing I see them farming are palm trees. These palm tree farms are in every direction, pretty much as far as you can see. Lots and lots of palm trees. All right, we are now on the Palms to Pine Scenic Byway. This is another great opportunity just to test the bike's handlings and the twisties, which is important with a big bike like this because this isn't a lightweight motorcycle. This is a touring bike. This thing's made to be stable up on the interstate, but you want to be able to lean it into the corners like we are here and have it set up nicely, and it truly does. It's doing a great job. The suspension's actually adequate from the factory. The brakes are working good, which is important for setting up on corners like this here. But most importantly, 131 foot-pounds of torque. So when you want to throttle out of these corners, you've got the engine to do it. Look at that. I mean, it just pulls you out of that corner. It's a lot of fun. When you think of having fun on twisty corners like this, the Big Baggers is not usually the bike you think about having fun with. But I'm telling you, this new Limited with the extra horsepower, 106 horsepower, but more importantly, that 131 foot-pounds of torque and that VVT really shine, ripping up mountains in and out of corners like this. Of course, the other place that's going to do really well is going to be on the interstate when you got to get up and around semis and things like that. You're going to have the bandwidth to do so. Now, I can't play it here, but I'd also like to tell you it's got an upgraded Rockford Fosgate stereo that comes with it. I can't play it in the video because I'll get demonetized for it, but it is pretty loud. And from what I'm told, this system isn't just like an aftermarket system to fit on the bike. It was an entirely different system designed specifically for this touring model. So you really don't have any need to upgrade anything on the stereo. On the interstate, both passenger and rider can hear the music just fine as you're rolling, even on a windy mountaintop like I am right here. Another thing you'll notice here is the redesigned tour pack. I really like the lighting on the back. I think it looks really good, but also the shape itself. It can still fit 2 full helmets. It's got plenty of storage space, but the lines really go with the bike. In my opinion, a lot better than they did in the past. You look at the view up here. Whew. Well, you can't see nothing but brick walls right now, I'm sure, but I'll walk you up there. Give me 1 second. Another thing you'll notice is the taillight. See how that's got the Street Glide taillights? The Street Glide Limited and the Road Glide come with a completely different tail light. It's more of the classic, more traditional Harley Davidson look of the tail light. In fact, in talking to some of the engineers around this bike, they wanted to wait to bring it back to give the new audience a little bit of time to get used to the new body style of bike. Look at the front of that bike. It just looks good. And here's something that Harley really fights with any way you look at it. In fact, let me get my helmet off to tell you this. Let's talk real talk here, rider to rider, something that really I think Harley Davidson probably struggles with, and I've never really understood from a consumer's perspective. They're kind of in this pigeonhole where, you know, they want to do innovative stuff, but then the old timers, the classics say, you know, that's not a Harley Davidson, that's not new, that's off brand. But then if they stick with the same stuff, people are saying you need to be more innovative and you need to, you know, we don't want to pay this much money for old tech. And at some point, you guys, we got to just come behind the brand as a whole and say, listen, you know, we need innovation, we need to progress, we need to compete out there on the roads. In order to do that, we need to make some changes. And that's okay as long as we stay within the classic feel of our bikes. And I think this thing really does hit square in the classic feel. You know, you've got things like the Pan America, which is pressing new grounds. It's a phenomenal bike. I just took one all across Mexico. And I could not have asked for a better bike to ride across Mexico. But you've also got, you know, the attention to detail, the paint sets, you know, the look, the traditional batwing fairing, even though I was told they did add this really nice LED in here specifically to make it stand out. Because let's face it, there are other brands that are copying that style front to end, and this gives it a signature so you know you are actually on an official Harley Davidson. In fact, you know when you see one come down the road instantly that that's a new Street Glide. Let's take a look at this beautiful view we rode up to, because that is part of riding motorcycles, right? I've said it before, I'll say it again, coming to unique places and experiencing the ride up to them, and then getting to enjoy our nation or other nations is really part of the fun. Look at that curvy road. Tell me that's not enjoyable. That thing twists and winds. It looks like a racetrack. I feel like I'm at Laguna Seca when I look down at that thing. This is what motorcycling is about. It's not just the time you spent on the road. it's the time enjoying the destinations. All in all, the new Road Glide and Street Glide Limited are made to take you around the country in optimum comfort and be able to bring you to all these different places to experience all these things I'm talking about right now. This is the most comfortable way to get out there and do it. And I know me, the older I get, the more I enjoy comfort. So I'm glad to see the new Limited back. Okay, so they say 131 foot-pounds of torque and like 106 horsepower on this thing. And here I've got an open road ahead of me and a stoplight. And I think this is a perfect opportunity to see exactly what that feels like. So let's take a ride together on the 2026 Limited and see exactly what this power band feels like. Again, remember this does have the VVT, so that is new, something that was only allowed in the CVOs in the past and now is on the Limited. Having proper power is an important thing on a touring bike because you're going to be weighted down with weight and additional passengers, so having the proper power to get that moving is important. All right, here we go. Let's see what this thing does. I would say, so that's 0 to 80. You know, I didn't redline it. I just gave it a good aggressive shift. And I would say that's more than enough power to get the job done. That actually was incredibly smooth. And the pull was steady through the entire range. Good job. Let's see what kind of acceleration this bike has. I'm gonna drop down to about 45. In third gear here, we'll say 50. And look at that torque curve. That is, yeah, that's impressive. That's a good range. And a lot of that comes from that VVT. You know, that's something that before you could only get in the Screaming Eagles. And now they brought it in to the new 26 Limited. And it just gives you all the power you need on an interstate or something like this. That's an impressive pull. I don't care who you are. Okay, we are just filling up the bikes and headed back after a couple days of riding across Southern California. I have to say, the new 2026 Limited Street Glide is a great touring machine. If you're looking to get around the country long distance in comfort, this just might be your next bike. It's certainly worth taking a look at because they brought back a lot of the features we were missing and really enjoyed. Simple things like the toe heel shifter. I do love lower fairings. On cold days or wet days, those lower fairings make all the difference in the world. And of course, they're vented on the bottom to let air through on the hot days as well. All in all, I'm giving this bike a great review. We can't just be biased though. We have to tell the truth. And if I had to pick one thing that I would change on this bike, it would probably be the seat. And that's a very personal thing, right? It's impossible to make a seat that fits everybody. But for me, this seat was just a little wide through this section here and ended up giving me some hot spots on the back of my thighs on the longer day. That is probably my biggest misfitment on this bike. These are the types of things you want to switch out and modify for yourself for your own comfort. Secondly, I'd probably go with a little bit higher bar myself. But aside from that, I mean, the bike really is beautiful. It's set up nice. And it was very, very comfortable to ride. So many of you big mile riders asked them to bring the Limited back. And guess what? 2026 Harley Davidson delivered for you. Hope you guys enjoyed riding around California with me. It was actually some pretty decent weather, although it was chilly this morning. I used that heated grip, heated seat, which is a nice feature on that seat, and those lower fairings to my advantage. I'll see y'all in the next video.